How to Make People Like You in 90 Seconds. Embarking on the journey to appeal. People surround us all the time, and before we say a word, we are just another faceless person in the crowd. But with a greeting, we become a person with all our quirks and habits. However, a shy sorry is not strong enough to be unforgettable. Communicating effectively and virtuously is an art that has evolved since the dawn of time. Integrity can grant you valuable connections and good friends in the hectic dynamic of modern life. But you must be fast to captivate the other person and persuade them you're a good acquaintance. Sometimes, reaching the person we want to talk to can be difficult. Having yet to learn how to showcase all our wits, we omit a valuable opportunity entirely. Nicholas Boothman challenges these fears by revealing techniques to find common ground with other people. Starting with a helpful attitude and rules for making a perfect first impression, we will dive into more insightful strategies, like sensory preferences and their effect on communication. Nicholas Boothman offers practical explanations for the following. Being open. The role of eye contact and smiling. A positive mindset. The sensory inclinations of the person you talk to. Lively and humorous, we will discover realistic situations and phrases to practice alone or in conversation. Applying techniques like mirroring or sensory preferences, Nicholas Boothman promises more pleasant and long-lasting acquaintances. His ideas are easy to comprehend and don't require unusual resources to practice. The undeniable importance of communication. People are the product of communication. A common experience survival connected the earliest humans and helped them build communities and civilizations. In the darkest, ancient times, when the world was still young, our ancestors sat down to a hearty meal by the fire and recounted their adventures evading the mammoth. And today, the need for communication leads us to our roots when we want to impress our new boss, a cute coworker, or future parents-in-law. The importance of connection is undeniable. In society, networking is rapidly becoming the key to success in any field. The secret to networking lies in instant connection, but it takes courage to speak first and network effectively. There are several reasons why making the first move counts. First, studies show that a good interpersonal connection provides a sense of safety, encouraging cultural and spiritual evolution. Second, as a species, we need love and emotional attachment. Every Sherlock Holmes requires a Watson to live to the fullest. Finally, we tend to reach out subconsciously when showing a clear will to communicate. Aside from the social advantage, research shows extroverted behavior helps us to lead longer lives. It is also true that people with poor social ties are more prone to lethal medical illnesses. At this point, not talking to your crush can kill you. Being open to connection can stimulate natural rapport. Charisma, empathy, or intelligence are great tools. An instinctive link spurs from emotional triggers like being a family member or being attracted to someone. Influenced by the demeanor and emotional feedback of the person we want to connect with, we subconsciously emulate their behavior to develop common affinities. At times, a rapport develops within the limited opportunities. Finding a fellow native speaker in a new country can be a gift from the gods. Still, this connection is unlikely to last without common interests. The middle ground is designing a rapport, in other words, putting effort into creating points of contact. When we build the connection, its strength will increase proportionally to our efforts. One may call it making a relationship. Making and keeping the perfect impression. Movies often allure us into believing there is a cheat code for a lingering first impression. On the one hand, there is no magic trick to make a person connect with you immediately. After all, connecting requires endeavor. That's why, on the other hand, there is a whole strategy for making a fruitful first impression to give ground for future connections. The first meeting plays an underrated role in making connections. The first 3 or 4 seconds can make the other person trust and feel safe with you. The greeting is the first step worth paying attention to, specifically the following elements. Open, ye eye, ye beam, ye high, ye lean. 1. Open. A readiness to connect through open body language will be handy on many occasions. Don't hide your heart by crossing your arms or putting your hands to your chest. Instead, show you're open to the interaction. Try unbuttoning your jacket or coat Yi. It will send a green light to your partner. 2. Eye and beam. A friendly look and smile are another step to a good impression. Be the first to make eye contact to show readiness to talk, followed by a smile to exhibit your friendliness. The secret is not to try too hard. If the smile is forced or unexpected, it will look disturbing. 3. Hi. After the visual approval, a pleasant greeting like "Hi," followed by your name, exhibits your acceptance. Repeating your partner's name 2 or 3 times, for example, "Michael, nice to meet you, Michael," will settle it in your memory and show your genuine interest in the other person. 4. Lean. The last step involves a physical aspect to cement the introduction. Leaning forward, whether a subtle tilt or a light bow, highlights the attention paid to the other person. However, handshakes are tricky and too physical at times. Strong, shy, or unapologetically sweaty, Yi handshakes can soothe or fluster the first impression. The hands-free handshake is a safe alternative, which involves all the steps above to pledge a positive outcome. When harnessing the attitude is entering Troy on a real horse. The human mind is the gray eminence that operates our body behind the scenes. Facial expressions and body language meticulously divulge our reaction and make the first impression before we even say a word. Attitudes stem from an emotional response, so a similar reaction to one experience creates a natural bond between people. However, the very same origin can distort perspectives. In other words, people are bound to their emotions. A mindful reaction is crucial in making a lasting positive impression. A cheerful and dedicated bank accountant can make dozens of clients stay, even if 2 new banks have opened much closer. This bank accountant knows what reaction they want to achieve and adjusts their attitude accordingly. The result is mutual benefit for the worker, good performance, and the client, secure deposit. On the contrary, an angry or distraught reaction is less likely to cause a sympathetic reaction. On most occasions, a negative response is a highway to a faulty introduction that leaves a bitter aftertaste for subsequent communication. Another reason to avoid anger, sarcasm, boredom, or impatience is that they fog the rational explanations for the connection. People who don't know their communication needs often build their perception around what they don't want instead of what they do want. For example, instead of the positive "I want this position" idea, they delve into self-sabotaging thoughts like, "I don't make enough money." As a result, their attitude reflects their way of thinking. It is possible to change the reaction when necessary to make a pleasant impression and establish promising communication. Being friendly and open increases the chances of emotional compatibility and thus successful goal achievement. Manipulating personal attitudes can motivate effective communication. The 3 rules to remember are: 1. Knowing what you want to achieve. 2. Receiving feedback. 3. Adjusting your response to reach the final goal. Attitude is the primary medium piercing all 3, so focusing on it is the most important task. Being fluent in body language can speak volumes. Building a successful rapport continues with appropriate body language. Most people associate it with limb movements, and they aren't wrong. However, they forget about the most honest mirror, Yi, the face. As we mentioned earlier, the human mind is the wire puller of attitude. Body language, along with verbal and vocal expression, is a wire that sustains mood, emotions, and feelings. Yet it is often underrated. Facial expressions and limb movements can tell whether a person welcomes you or waits for you to leave. Most typical welcoming gestures include putting hands on the hips, keeping feet apart, or leaning forward when sitting. On the other hand, closeted body language can signify a negative or self-defensive attitude. By avoiding eye contact or turning sideways, people keep their vulnerable parts, Yi heart and mind Yi, from the unpleasant speaker. The body cannot lie, so unless the person has a clear goal and communicates with their mind, the body switches to the default defensive mode. Verbal communication is not enough to build a successful rapport with another person. The professor of psychology at UCLA, Albert Mehrabian, outlined 3 elements of communication: the visual, the vocal, the verbal. To send the right message to the other person, all three must project the same intention. For example, when a distraught mother thumps through the house with furrowed eyebrows but says she's fine, no one is likely to believe her, even the family's chihuahua. Visual communication takes up 55% of our reaction, while verbal and vocal communication yi 7% and 38%, respectively. Only 1% belongs to the actual words. So, to make a rewarding connection, one must tune their body language to conform to their words. It also means paying attention to the body responses of the other person. To tell apart a sincere and suspicious attitude, you must practice analyzing body language and actual words separately. Suppose a person is passive-aggressive, but their words are more common for a friendly chat. In that case, they are either sarcastic, exhausted, or can't synchronize their communication channels. Mirror, mirror on the wall, why do I report with my own? Synchrony is an important element of communication. The very reason we are on good terms with our mother, even after our brutal teenage years, is synchrony. Feelings of utmost contentment and safety develop when we share values and opinions with our social circle. The secret to liking someone is to be like them. To follow this formula, matching your partner's body language is an excellent instrument. However, it is not about faking a personality, but building a safe and comfortable bridge between two strangers. Synchronization usually happens when trying to align attitude, body language, specific gestures, tone of voice, certain words, and even breathing. Hand and arm motions are the easiest to mirror, but you can also match body posture or position. When talking to shy or difficult people, mirroring should be followed by you opening up to force their subconscious emulation. Mirroring also works with verbal exchanges. It incorporates itself through asking questions and listening actively. Open questions are reliable icebreakers. Asking about a location or occasion is smooth enough to be followed by a question. For example, "What a beautiful city," and "the subway's really fast," can prompt questions like, "Are you from here? What's it like living in this city?" 6 question-generating words. Ye who, when, what, why, where, how. Ye invite the person to express an opinion or release a feeling, thus showing the connection establishment. For example, saying, "Hi, I'm Kate, Betty's cousin." A response like, "Hi, I'm Tom. I'm hopeful of becoming Betty's boyfriend" may follow. Matching voice tones with certain words can reinforce the intuitive connection. And the more information you give at the start, the higher the chance another person will mirror the answer. The second tool of conversing is active listening. A good listener grasps the facts and feelings and empathizes with the other person. To evolve this skill, verbal and physical feedback is crucial. The comments should be sincere, following the person's narration. And then what? Will emphasize the interest. Eye contact, moving closer, and nodding occasionally add to the visual focus. Altogether, such an attitude will motivate the speaker to continue. Senses are the new dimension of connecting. People have 5 basic senses to process information. Ye eyesight, hearing, smell, taste, and touch. Conversing and connecting with others also incarnates a pit of data, so applying the appropriate senses to dive into it is reasonable. Seeing, hearing, and feeling are vital to starting a meaningful dialogue. The founders of neuro-linguistic programming, Richard Bandler and John Grinder, grouped people into 3 types of comprehension based on these senses: visual, auditory, kinesthetic. To describe their experiences, people usually use a mixture of all 3 types, with one being dominant. For example, visuals commonly use image words. Auditory and kinesthetic individuals prefer sound and physical words, respectively. Altogether, appealing to the senses is a new layer of synchrony you can establish to connect with the other person. Sense-based connection is a subconscious strategy that may pass unnoticed and lead to miscommunication. Determining the other person's comprehension type can help speak their language and reach common conclusions. The chance of immediate connection is very high for people with the same comprehension type. In contrast, people with 2 approaches, visual versus kinesthetic, auditory versus visual, etc., may struggle to step into each other's shoes. Research has shown that more than 55% of people apply visual interpretation to the information they receive, followed by 30% kinesthetics and 15% auditories. The best strategy to tune into someone's sensory wavelength is to juggle all three types. As the relationship develops, finding the correct type will become easier. The second leading strategy is appealing to people's sensations. Usually, it means using words that involve feeling or moving. Imagine selling the mattress and asking your kinesthetic customer to sit and feel its softness. Sprinkling your speech with pleasant tonality can charm auditories. Finally, being aware of your comprehension type can help you connect with like-minded people more consciously. Stripping the person down, metaphorically, to see how they react. Visuals, auditories, and kinesthetics share micro differences in their physical and mental presentation. Understanding the thought process of all three can majorly affect our personal, professional, or social lives. Recognizing the subtle differences between people of different sensory inclinations takes practice and time. Still, there are general features common for each of them. Research shows visuals pay significant attention to looks as they anchor their perception to images. Pictures often slide fast in their minds, which makes them speak quickly to conform. However, they can sound monotonous trying to keep up with the images. When building an answer, they look to the left and right as if recalling them. To hook a visual, use phrases like, "I see what you mean," "Can you imagine?" or "You have an interesting vision of this situation." For auditors, the quality of sound is vital. Unlike visual people, their voices are usually melodic and expressive. As they talk, their eyes shift from side to side as if recalling with their ears. Auditory people stand between orderly visuals and comfortable kinesthetics. Phrases like, "Sounds familiar," "Let me tell you," or "Tell me more," can satisfy listeners. Kinesthetics have a prominently slow tempo, as interpreting feelings into words requires more effort than pictures or sounds. They often add irrelevant details in the process. Another thing that gives away a kinesthetic is looking down to the left, which resembles looking inside oneself and their feelings. Asking them, "How do you feel about?" or "Let's keep in touch," help kinesthetics comprehend the information better. Overall, it all comes down to observing and experimenting with the tools above. Did you know? Couples with opposite sensory preferences often make the strongest marriages. Conclusion. Communication is one of the inherent elements of humans as a species. Evolved from the Neanderthals, people survived by using speech to build civilizations. The importance of communication has stayed the same throughout the evolution of humanity. Instead, it developed in the same way as the human race and is now one of the most intricate instruments at people's disposal. The hectic lifestyle that comes with technological progress and globalization forces people to adjust their communication to provide maximum information in the shortest time possible. Therefore, a winning first impression is critical. Being open and friendly to every new person may be a challenge. Still, as long as you remember the goal of this communication, you will notice the feedback needed for its achievement. A suitable attitude and fluent body language can help connect with the person more easily. Mirroring small gestures or picking on a person's favorite vocabulary can relax the conversation to the point of wondering whether you are not the same person. The end point of making a person like you in 90 seconds is to erase the image of a stranger and show they can trust you. Subscribe now to Be Your Rising for more insightful summaries like this one. Thank you for joining us on this journey of personal growth. If you enjoyed this content and crave more condensed wisdom, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Let's keep rising together. See you in the next summary.